What is going on, everybody? How's it hanging? What's going on? This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song Today, Rock 2000 Day. Happy Tuesday morning to you. It is October 15th. October 15th always holds a special place in my heart because my childhood dog, a beagle named Kirby, was born on this day in 2003. Unfortunately, we had to put her down in the summer of 2016 because I think she had a very aggressive form of cancer that came on head on, but I still miss her to this day. She's still the home screen on my phone. A little beagle. She's got a top hat on, got a little emoji top hat on, a little emoji cigarette coming out of her mouth, like, a sophisticated dog. I always find it kind of funny. But yeah, so today would have been her 16th birthday, so I still miss my doggy, but that's enough of that. If this is your first time listening, welcome. If this is your returning listener, thank you for returning, and I love you guys. Alrighty, well, I'm shooting this on Monday night, and I'm not gonna lie, I do sound a little bit nasally because I am battling a cold. I am tired. My legs are completely dead, and all I really want to do right now, honestly, before I started shooting this was like, Monday Night Football, I want to watch the Packers lose to the Lions because, A, the Lions win, I'm looking pretty good. B, I'm a Vikings fan. I got my Vikings shirt on as I'm shooting this, so... But then right as I get started talking about this, I'm like, I am jazzed up. I'm like, let's get going, because we had one hell of a week of stuff to talk about. I mean, I got to tell you about these concerts I went to, go over the Lacuna Coil album a little bit, and then we'll just get into some fun stuff. But first, we're going to get into the shameless plugs. So again, guys, if I had any kind of, excuse me, if I had any kind of, advertising, this is where it would be, but I don't have any advertising, so I'm just going to say, podcast here, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and on YouTube. We have our My Song Day YouTube channel, so go subscribe to that. Facebook, you're going to be notified of anything that gets released, honestly, so go follow us there. Twitter, we're going to talk to you guys. And Instagram, we do a lot of stuff there, so we connect with you guys. We post a lot on there. We connect with you by responding to your posts and responding to your comments all the time. We do our IGTV videos every single Tuesday night, so you guys can keep up with us. And our live streams every single Wednesday as well, where you can come and join us for an hour and talk with us. So please follow that, and then also subscribe to our Alexa skill, because you can get notified of any single song of the day. You can listen to the whole entire thing on there. So go enable that. All the links for all this stuff is going to be in the description for the podcast itself. So there's that. But also, I'm very proud of Small Band Saturday, which is where we feature a small band every single Saturday. This past week, we had Apollo 03. They were on the podcast. They were. And they brought the heat, and I'm like, yeah, I loved having them on a Small Band Saturday. And next week we have another one, their sister band, basically, Within Temptation, another punk band from California. They were on the podcast as well, I think the week before Apollo 03 was. So they're coming up. And yeah, like I said, if you've seen the Small Band Saturday post, we're doing the 30-second previews on Instagram. That's going to become standard at the end of October for every single post we do. So look forward to that. Alrighty, enough with the shameless plugs and the ads and stuff. Again, guys, if I'm a little bit nasally today and if I'm a little bit hard to hear, please bear with me. I'm battling a cold because of the weather quickly changed. It went from mid-60s to low 30s within the span of 12 hours here. And I like it, but whenever that weather changes, I always end up getting some kind of cold. It's just but what are you going to do about it? But alrighty, let's just jump right into it. So the big thing that happened for this week was, to us at least, because we got one hell of a story. So last night, or 2 nights ago, I should say at this point, because you're listening to this on Tuesday. So on October 13th, Disturbed ended the Evolution Tour. The 2019 tour is over. And they ended it in the best spot they could have. They ended it right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So you know what that meant? I was going to be at the show. And if you guys have paid attention to anything with Instagram, or if you've been on our page, you will notice an Instagram user. Her name is, I think it's at Baby Doll something. I can't remember really there's numbers at the end of it. But she's always on our page, and she is the biggest Disturbed fan we have ever met in our entire lives. We connect with her right before the album release for Evolution, because she won she didn't meet and greets. She won a chance to be out in New York for the album release, but she was having trouble getting out there, so we decided, we're going to help you get out there. I decided, I'm going to help her get out there because something tells me that this woman really likes Disturbed, and I had no clue who she was. I'm like, I just feel like helping out this person so strongly. And we connected, and I helped her out, and she couldn't make it because I believe her car wasn't going to be able to make it. I said, don't worry about it. Just make sure you go see Disturbed when they come by you. I had no idea how big she was in the band. I mean, and she had seen many shows. She got meet and greets when they were in San Antonio back in January. The night following that, they were in Dallas, and she was there for the meet and greet. They were in Chicago on the end of the first leg of the tour back in March, and I was there. I met her there with my buddy Warren and her friend Rick. So we got to watch the show together, and it was amazing. Then she ended up getting to go to the show in Spokane back in July, where she got to go see it with her daughter and her grandson. I mean, how cool of a grandma are you if you're going to take your daughter and your grandson to go see Disturbed? Like, that's grandma of the year right there, honestly. But Kathy's year just kept getting better and better when it came to Disturbed, because at the Spokane show, she ended up having David Draymond come up and sing to her. Like, straight up, like, sing right in her face and sing with her. Like, she was singing the words along as well, because she knows every single word to every single Disturbed song. And she is just completely awesome. Now let's fast forward to the end of September of 2019. You guys know Disturbed puts out their Fighter of the Month every single month. So ever since the Evolution album came out, it's been a huge focus on mental health. So they focus on people who have gone through a lot in their lives and have remained strong and who have fought and won those battles. And you know who the Fighter of the Month for September was? It was Kathy. It was Kathy. And I gotta tell you, the band absolutely loves Kathy, because if you watch the video from the Fighter of the Month, from that you can actually see David singing to Kathy. And on the right, you can see Kathy's daughter and her grandson just in utter amazement and shock and awe and disbelief, because they cannot believe that this is actually happening to Kathy. Kathy is one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. So fast forward to October. Well, she now told me that she was going to the show in St. Louis in October. It was supposed to be the last show on the tour. But they added one more. This was back like in August, I think, or July. They added one more. And it was for Milwaukee, and I freaked out. I'm like, I'm going to this show. Kathy ended up sending me her pre-sale code so I could get floor seats, and that was amazing. Then the band did a bunch of amazing stuff for Kathy at their show in St. Louis. I am not going to go into detail on it because I have not asked Kathy if I could share that story with you guys, and I don't want to be disrespectful because Kathy did tell me the whole entire story, and I got to tell you, everything that the band did for her and her connection with Disturbed is one of the most amazingly beautiful things I've ever heard and seen in my entire life. However, if that's a story that she wants to share, that's a story that she's going to share with you, and we'd have her on. We would have her on here, but it's all up to her, and I want to respect that. So now it's so this is the show in St. Louis was on the 11th. On the 12th, so this is Saturday the 12th. This was 3 days ago? Yeah. So she ends up driving from St. Louis to Milwaukee to basically she's going to go see the show on the last leg of the tour. And I'm like, yes, because I'm going too. And I'm like, thank God she made it, because there was a question if she was going to be able to make it or not, but thank God for the Toyota Corolla, because my God, that saved her a lot on gas money. I end up meeting up with her the night of the 12th. I was actually in downtown Milwaukee, about a block away from where her hotel was, because I was seeing a Milwaukee Admirals game. For those of you who don't know, Milwaukee Admirals is an AHL hockey team. They're the minor league affiliate to the Nashville Predators. But I was with my friends, and we'd all drove down there together, and I wasn't the one that drove. So unfortunately, I was like, I can't run over right now. We went back to my friend's house. I got my car. I went back downtown because I wanted to meet up with Kathy, talk with her a little bit, hear this whole entire story. And Kathy presented me with one of the most amazing gifts I have ever received in my entire life. So, Disturbed, second album, Believe. They reissued on vinyl for 2019. They gave out 3,000 copies only. They only issued 3,000. And on side one, it is the album cover. So it's the logo with the red background. And if you flip it on the other side, it's a black background with a silhouette of all four of the guys' faces. And she got 3 of them, and she gave me one. Not only that, but this is amazing. It was signed by all 4 members of Disturbed. That is easily one of the most amazing things I've ever received from a person. I am eternally grateful for Kathy for presenting me with that as well. I'm at a loss for words, honestly. It was just truly amazing. I mean, Kathy's also the one that helped get me the the Israel flag where they had to sort of put their logo in there. She got me one of those too, and I'm eternally grateful for it. I just want to thank Kathy if she's listening to this. Thank you very much. So we ended up talking. She told me the whole entire story about what happened to her in St. Louis. I'm not going to go into detail at all because that's something for her to share. Then let's jump to the 13th. So let's jump to Sunday night, and the band ended up getting her for a meet and greet back again, VIP. And I ended up getting down there to the venue a little bit after 6:30. Now, reason being for me getting down there a little bit later than I would have anticipated was because wasn't feeling very well. I was at my parents' house doing laundry because someone in my apartment building was doing laundry on my day. You don't do laundry on my designated day. But then I wasn't feeling very good either, and I was feeling pretty sick, so I really went over there, was watching the Viking game, and just passed out. I gotta tell you, it was actually worth it though, because I had a lot of energy for the show, which was awesome. So Kathy was already on the rail with her friend. I believe her name was Meredith. Yes, Meredith. And Kathy had saved me a spot. So when I got there, I walked in and I got to the rail and I saw her, and I'm like, this is amazing because we were on the rail just part way to the left. And so we had been right in front of where John Moyer was. John Moyer is the bassist. Now, Kathy is friends with John Moyer, and she's friends with John Moyer's girlfriend. John Moyer's girlfriend came up and said hi to Kathy. They were talking for a while, and they got a picture together. And of course, knowing my luck, I show up right after that happened. So I completely missed it. Oh man, like that'd have been awesome to say hi, just meet some people. But you know what? There's always another time for that. So we're talking before the show starts. We're having a good time, and I wore a very specific shirt because after all this was happening, I wore a very specific shirt. Our first band we ever had on the Chord Progression podcast was Ascending from Ashes, a band out of, I believe they're out of New Jersey. Yeah, out of New Jersey. John Moyer has worked with Ascending from Ashes, so there's a good connection there. And I had an Ascending from Ashes t-shirt, so I'm like, oh, I'll wear that. Why not? So I had my Brewers hat on back to my Ascending from Ashes t-shirt on, right on the rail. So I'm like, this is going to be awesome. Now, before Disturbed jumps on, In This Moment opened. And of course, I've seen In This Moment once already this year. They were a headlining show back in May at the Rave here in Milwaukee with Seven Dust opening for them. Like I said, I enjoyed Seven Dust's set more because that was a set where we could mosh. And it was just straight up just getting bounced around, going bonkers, and I loved it. Within This Moment, it's a lot more theatrical. It's much more theatrical, which then you're gonna want to watch the show. And of course, it was the exact same way. Maria Brink and the band, they opened with Fly Like an Eagle by Steve Miller Band. Now, Kathy had told me they'd open with Fly Like an Eagle when they were in St. Louis, which I thought, oh, I'm surprised they opened with that in St. Louis because they're doing a song by a band that is synonymous with Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I mean, every year at Summerfest, the Steve Miller Band plays. Fly Like an Eagle is probably their most popular song. Outside, maybe The Joker. It's one of the two. One of the two. So I was enjoying the fact that, here it comes, and we were right on the rail. I got to see everything, got blasted by a bunch of smoke fog machines. In This Moment played about a 45-minute set. I think they put about 7 or 8 songs in that 45-minute set. Again, because you're having a lot of theatrics. They played Fly Like an Eagle to start out with. They played Big Bad Wolf, I think, second or third. So, of course, I know song I'm getting into it. The one thing that's always a little bit, I think the acoustics might have been off, or maybe the her headset might have been off because it was kind of hard to hear her sit. It wasn't, you could hear her voice, but the words were not very clear. That's the only real knock I have on the In This Moment show for this particular point because it was really hard to hear. I do have to give them more credit than when I saw them at the Rave because there was a point in time where Maria Brink went back and just let the other members of the band kind of walk up front and just have them just shred a guitar, do a bass solo, just have a great time, shine everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm down for this. Like, I'm really into this. They ended with Blood, and then they came back, and of course, their closing song was Whore, and the set was the exact same. She had this giant stairs, was on top of them. If you look at our Instagram, I got to pull it up to make sure. I'm not going to LinkedIn. Send me an Instagram. Because I posted a good amount of videos on this stuff. I posted a video of her doing horror. And one thing that was pretty cool about it was when I posted all those videos. Now I posted, this is for the videos that I had for In This Moment that I had for Disturbed, and then another post I had with our friend Kathy. Kent Dimmel, the drummer for In This Moment, liked everything we did on Instagram and commented on one of our posts, and it was fantastic. Like, I'm like, okay, we're starting to get some recognition here. They went off. I'm like, okay, Kathy and I, we're getting jazzed up. We're getting ready for Disturbed to go on. And Disturbed comes on, and they start playing. Of course, they open up with Are You Ready? They just go nuts with it. They were going out there having a great time, and it was, again, the last show of the tour. Kathy said, she did the meet and greet. It's like the last show of the tour. So they might be pretty emotional just because of the fact that it's the end of the tour. So, right away, because we're on John Moyer's side, John Moyer spots Kathy right away. So does David Draymond. And of course, I'm sitting next to her. I'm standing next to her. I'm like, this is awesome. So about the second song, I believe it was the second or third song, like I'm up front and center, of course, and John makes eye contact with Kathy. Now, I'm wearing the Ascending from Ashes t-shirt, and he glances right next to her, right at me. I've got the Ascending from Ashes t-shirt on. He just like gives me the point and the thumbs up for approval. I'm just like, that's awesome. So, yeah. I got seen by the whole band. And Mike as well. And Dan. Well, Dan came over by us a couple of times, and he did go towards Kathy as well, because they all love Kathy there. The band loves Kathy. Though it got a little bit interesting towards the middle of it, because they play their, like, they went nuts. And David did a couple extra speeches throughout the night. Then they went into the slower stuff. So they did, Hold On to Memories. And it got real emotional. Of course, throughout the whole entire place, Kathy, just all the emotion and everything that the beauty and the great things that have happened to her in 2019, and there's no better person to have anything like this happen to in 2019. Just like all the emotion you could tell was coming to her with Hold On to Memories, and she started crying. It wasn't like sad tears. It was happy tears, of course. Then I think John and Mike played their like solos. Then they did A Reason to Fight, and Kathy started crying because A Reason to Fight is a very powerful song. Then I forget, was it? It was one of the camera guys went up to John. John handed him something, and he walked up to Kathy, and the camera guy gave Kathy, like, this is from John, and it was John's pick that he used for A Reason to Fight. And while Dave's talking, Kathy is just crying tears of joy. Give her a big old hug, because, when she's just happy as ever. And then I believe it was after because then they did Sound of Silence. They walked back, they deconstructed everything. The band comes back out in their army fatigues or tops. They do Indestructible. Then they do Inside the Fire. And if please go to our Instagram page and watch the YouTube video, or not watch the video, for Inside the Fire, because oh my Lord. You'll just see all of the, you will literally just see everything and anything. All this fire flying from the back, from right where we are. All these streamers flying down with just fire. It was warm, but it was amazing. After that, the band goes off, and they quickly come back on, because they're going to do a 3-song encore. And we knew what their song was going to be. It was going to be The Light, then Stricken, then, of course, Down with the Sickness. And with The Light, the last time I saw them in Chicago, the band had brought up a kid, I think it was like 20 years old, who got kicked out of his house at like 16 or 17, almost committed suicide, but Disturbed was the reason that he kept going out. So they brought him up on stage, they told his whole entire story, and he got to sit down in front of Mike's drum kit during The Light. They did the exact same thing with a kid who had some sort of spinal disease, and the kid was just smiling the whole entire time, having a blast. It was the kid that deserved to be up there. They played The Light, they played Stricken, they played Down with the Sickness. David Draymond went real hard with the Of course, I can't do it very well, because A, my voice is shot. B, oh God, I can't do that. I just don't have the power of those vocals. And when the show ended, they got real emotional. Everyone was having a great time. And all of a sudden, I just see John Moyer start coming around, and he's got this bag full of guitar picks. Well, he's the bassist, so it's bass picks. And he starts throwing them into the crowd, and Kathy ended up getting another one. I ended up getting 2. Or I think Kathy got 2 more. I got 1, but Kathy gave me an extra one, so we each had 2. And right now I've got one. I don't know what I'm going to do with the second one. I've got one on my poster for the Monolith Tour North America 2018 for 30 Seconds to Mars. That's on the opposite side of the 3 Days Grace pick that I got when I saw him in Chicago that her friend Rick actually gave me, which was pretty awesome. So in the end, I mean, like, that was just a great concert to be at. To be at a concert with not only Disturbed's Fighter of the Month, not only one of the most amazing people I've ever met in the world, but to be there with Kathy, who is a friend. And I mean, I think friend might be low on the how important it is, because she's really an amazing person. Yeah, I mean, it was just one hell of a concert, guys. And we'll see what happens in 2020. We'll see what happens with Disturbed. I'll say this though: keep your eye out. Just keep your eye out for what they're gonna do. However, one thing I do have to speak about within this moment that I totally forgot about was they did actually play us a new song. Oh, they played you a new song. Yes, they did. So let me pull it up because it was a song called Legacy. Now, I didn't know what song it was, but our friend, Anthony, aka at the Real Satan, on good old Instagram, because I told him about it, and he said, no, they played a slow song called Legacy that he personally doesn't like. I'm not going to give my opinion on it fully, mostly because it was slower, yes. But again, it was hard to hear Maria's vocals fully, so I didn't get a full grasp of it. But it was all about the people who have passed on in her life that were important, like her grandfather and active military members. So it was all about that for the song called Legacy. Now, on Halloween, yes, we know the song The In-Between will be coming out, and we'll figure out what's happening with their new album called Mother, I believe it's still going to be called. But on Halloween, I will post it on our Instagram and Twitter page that it's coming out, but I'm not going to give my full opinion on it on there. You want to know why? Because it's going to be a special podcast episode for that one. And also, when it comes to Disturbed, can we please, and I mean, can we please, get David Draymond to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl? I mean, there is no better candidate than him. And we're getting a lot of support from other members of the rock community as well. Corey Taylor's all in on it. The band, the Disturbed's all in on it. Avenged Sevenfold is all, like, everyone is all in on it in the rock community. They're going hard at it. Please, 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 NFL, if someone from the NFL is listening to this, David Draymond has to be the choice. Just listen to the Sound of Silence cover. You will feel the power of those vocals. And he's perfect for it. There is no better candidate to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl than the one and only, and I said only, David Draymond. So you guys are probably thinking, oh yeah, that was a good time at a Disturbed concert. Did you go to any other shows this week, man? Yeah, I did. Remember the last podcast episode where I said, ended with, screw this, I'm going to go see Gwar? Guess who saw Gwar? This guy! So I didn't really know any of the opening acts, and when I got there, I actually thought about leaving because I was dead tired. I wasn't feeling best because I woken up like the past days, like 4:30 in the morning, and I just wanted to sleep. I was tired. I was beat. I just wanted to rest. But I'm like, you know what? It's free tickets for Gwar. Let's just give it a shot. After the final opening act, right before Gwar went on stage, I ended up meeting up with one of our other followers. Her name is Anna. Or Ona? Anna? I can never remember how to pronounce it. But I know we had some. She was used to be connected with the band Sin 7. She is no longer connected with them. But I got to watch. She was up on the rail. I was a little bit further back because once Gwar came on, I mean, they put on some kind of a show, guys. And if you saw the Instagram post that I had, so at first they walk out there and they have this giant guy just like coming out. Big Ty is like a lawyer or something kind of thing. So they're doing this whole entire like their whole entire show is built around the premise of them getting kicked off of planet Earth by this like kangaroo court of all these prestigious countries, like a secret court that's going to kick them off of Earth. Really interesting, kind of wacky stuff. So the first guy they bring out is this tall and gigantic figure. Now, Anna told me, why didn't you wear white? I wore black, and I had my concert going shirts. I'm like, I didn't know I was supposed to wear white. Why should I wear it? She's like, because you're going to get wet. I'm like, what? And I had my favorite hat on, too. It's the hat I'm wearing during this podcast. It's my number 4 Kevin Harvick hat. Yeah, I'm a racing fan. What of it? So it's time for us to go in and, well, Gwar starting. So this guy comes in and they chop off his head. And all of a sudden, blood starts splattering out all over the place. And now I'm like, what? Because I'm looking over at the middle and they're spraying all these people. They're spraying a 10-year-old with the most insane mullet I've ever seen. And they're just drenching this kid. And he was in the mosh pit with us for the two openers prior to it. And I'm like, I'm liking this kid. Like, this kid's going places. Then it gets turned to us and I'm like trying to prevent him. Like, no, don't hit me. And I just got sprayed throughout the whole entire show. So after they did the, I'm going to be straight up with you guys, they did a mock abortion of a baby that Caitlyn Jenner was having. I shit you not, that was actually part of the show. And the blood splatter, and at this point, my hat is drenched. My shirt is drenched. My shorts are drenched. And at this point, I just said, fuck it, honestly. Let's just lean right the fuck in to this. And let's just enjoy. So I got splattered with all this stuff. I mean, they put on just this show that was like, you're just going to get splattered with blood and bile. So it's like red colored water, green colored water. We're just getting sprayed all over the place. And lead singer was shooting stuff out of his two dicks. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Out of his two dicks. And they had, I'm trying to think, they had a cop that came up. They had him, or like a crazy looking cop kind of come up. They had him do the exact same thing where they splurted out. They had little kids splurt out a bunch of stuff. They stuffed a bunch of people that were from the crowd. They brought them up on stage. They stuffed them in this like box thing. Well, of course, it just led to the back of the stage, kind of like a grinder. And then they just got this huge giant gun and just sprayed everybody with blood colored water. I'm like, oh man, now this is ridiculous. But I'm really enjoying this just because it's something completely different than what I'm used to. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. Let's keep this up. Then they bring on with the big giant judge. And they end up like chopping him in half too. And he sprays blood everywhere. Now at this point, of course, after he's done, they bring on a crazy Gwar looking thing of Donald Trump. And they cut him in half. And he sprays blood all over the place. That was the end of their set, or so I thought. So of course, end of the set, I'm looking, my shorts are just ruined. Shirt ruined. Hat ruined. Then all of a sudden, excuse me, this cold's really starting to get to me. Gwar comes out and just asks, do you want blood? I'm like, okay, they're going to be playing at least like one more. We'll see what happens. So they come out and everyone's just spraying blood everywhere. And I'm leaning into it because it's like, I can't get any less wet than I am right now. Let's just keep going. Now, this is where I loved the move by them. They did their encore. They covered AC/DC's If You Want Blood. The perfect song for them to choose to cover in that moment and spray everyone with blood. I thought, now this was something that was definitely a great move by the band. It just got everyone into it. It was outright ridiculous. And I ended up was losing. I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. So the show ended and I walked back to my car. I'm like, okay, let's take a look-see. I turned on the lights in my car. My shorts, they're just red and green water covered everywhere. My shirt, good thing I wore a black shirt because you couldn't see any of it. I took a picture of my face. It had looked like I was either wearing a lot of red face paint or I had gone to some sort of war and just seen a lot of crap because it was just brutal. But I was smiling because it was like I got in the mosh pit. I got rocked a couple of times and I was happy. Then I got sprayed with all this blood and bile. Then I got home and looked at how bad my hat was. I'm like, this is one of my favorite hats. I got this in Daytona when I was with my dad. And shit, now it's ruined. So at first I'm like, well, at least I can throw the black shirt in there. I mean, the print on it is white, but it's all covered. Maybe it'll come out. Who knows? I'm going to give it a shot. I go downstairs the next day and my shirt is still in the washer. Clean as a whistle. No diner. I'm like, huh. Well, after work, I'm going to throw my hat in there. So I threw my hat in the wash, and now my hat is back to the way it was. I thought, oh, let's try my shorts. Let's see if that works. My shorts back to normal. Huge credit to Gwar for getting everyone wet, but then using some sort of dye that was going to be easy to wash out. Huge, huge, huge credit. The rest of the crowd, though, I mean, we were drenched to all hell. So would I go see Gwar again in the end? Now that I know what to expect, yeah, I'd go see them again. It's not because not necessarily I'm a big fan of their music. It's just the show is insane. So, out of the two, which one did I like more? Obviously, it's going to go to Disturbed. I like Disturbed's show more than Gwar's. Gwar had the crazier show, but Disturbed had the much more impactful show. Plus, Disturbed's my second favorite band of all time. You guys know that. Number one, of course, you guys know is Rise Against. So, I've seen Disturbed twice this year so far. I've seen In This Moment twice this year so far. The only other bands I've seen so far twice this year are Skillet and Rise Against. So that's 4 I've seen twice this year. And am I seeing another one twice this year? Yes, indeedy. So next week I'll be talking about it too because I'll be seen on the Trick or Treat tour here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Motionless in White. I just hope to God they play Thoughts and Prayers. I absolutely love that song. And it goes hard, and the mosh pit will be ridiculous for it. So we'll be talking all about that in the coming week's episode. So yeah, it was a crazy week for us, or for me, I should say, when it comes to concerts. And of course, you guys know that's what I love to do. I love going to shows and just getting lost in them. I love everything about music because I can get lost in it and really recenter myself. Of course, I'm trying to make it kind of this whole entire thing really work with the podcast, with the YouTube channel, with the Instagram page, Facebook tour. I'm trying to make this whole entire thing a gigantic thing because music is what I love. I've come to love it more than sports, which I never thought. If you told me this 10 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. But now it's like, no, music is much more important to me, and I really love it. So I really want to dive deep into it. And hopefully, we can get something going, too, with some other of these bands. Well, like, In This Moment, I mean, I know his drummer knows who we are. John Wire knows who we are because he saw the shirt, and I tagged them in a bunch of I tagged him in the post, and he ended up giving me the thumbs up on the one there. If you look on our Instagram page, you'll see one of me and Kathy at the show, and he gave us the thumbs up on that one. So I know he saw it. Probably might not be aware of it, but maybe we'll get to talk to him one of these days. Now that would be something, and a David as well, and a Dan, and a Mike. They kind of the neighborhood where Mike lives, just on a whim. Well, just because some kid's parents live in the neighborhood that I used to work with, and he texted me on it. Have I gone down there, though? No. Why? Because that's just weird. And why would you? It's a dude's house. He wants his privacy. Come on, let him be. Okay, so not only that, but we did have some new music this past week with Lacuna Coil's 9th release, Black Anima. So I'm not going to go into this album as deep as I went into the Issues album last week, as I've gone into other albums like As I Lay Dying or Sleeping with Sirens, or as deep as I will go into the next 2 weeks, because I've been on this string of album reviews. I think I mentioned on the live stream, but let me pull it up, because it has been ridiculous since the beginning of August how many album reviews we have done. Let me go back to later in July. So July 22nd, we did an album review on Crown the Empire's new album. Then we did one on Sum 41 with Order and Decline, so that's 2. Then I did a top 10 Hollywood Undead songs, so that's 2 out of 3. August, Skillet by Victorious by Skillet, 3 out of 4. Rewind, Replay, Rebound by Volbeat, 4 out of 5. We Are Not Your Kind by Slipknot, that's 5 out of 6. 30 Seconds to Mars Island Recap Special, 5 out of 7. Review of Atonement by Killswitch Engage, 6 out of 8. Top 10 30 Seconds to Mars songs, that's 6 out of 9. Then I did, 6 out of 9, and since then I've done 9. So I'm at 15 of 18 of our last YouTube videos were album reviews. Doing Tool's new album, Wage War's new album, Sleeping with Sirens, Chord, As I Lay Dying, Hell Yeah, Mice and Men, Issues, and now Lacuna Coil. And I've still got 2 set up this year to go, where next week I'll go deeper into this one because it's Alter Bridge's new album, Walk the Sky. And then the week after that is the one I've been waiting for the whole entire year for. And it's Flaw Designed by Saint Asonia, so I'll be talking about that one more in depth than I will be with Lacuna Coil. Now, Lacuna Coil, they're on tour right now with Bad Omens and All That Remains. I actually got free tickets to go see that show when I went to go see Gwar, they gave me 2 free tickets. I'm like, oh, cool. But I already knew I wasn't going to that show because it was the same night as Disturbed and In This Moment. And of course I'm going to go see Disturbed over them. Are you kidding me? Lacuna Coil couldn't even make it to the show because if you guys are from the U.S., you know we had this crazy blizzard in the Rocky Mountains and the Great Plains, the Northern Great Plains. And Lacuna Coil got stuck in North Dakota, so they never made it out. So it was Bad Omens opening for All That Remains at the Rave on Sunday the 13th. But of course, I was seen In This Moment open, and Disturbed was the headliner. But you guys already know that. Okay, so enough with that. Lacuna Coil and their album Black Anima. Now, I'll put it this way. Our buddy, I've already mentioned him before, at The Real Satan on Instagram. He was the one that brought this up to us. And I thought, okay, I'll listen to the first single, which was Layers of Time. And I really liked it. I actually really liked it. That was a song that, like, okay, I want to do an album review on Lacuna Coil's Black Anima after this. As I was going through it, and once it released, I only reviewed songs 1 through 11. Now, I did get the bonus track version, and I could listen to the 3 bonus tracks. I'm like, if you're going to release the album, let's just go with the 11 that aren't bonus tracks. Like, the actual 11 that are going to be on every single album, whether it's just the regular release or the bonus track or anything else you do. So we just looked at the first 11. And, not going to lie, I'm going to say this straight up with you guys. I'm not a big fan of gothic metal. I'm not a big fan of symphonic metal. I just don't really care for the genre. So, of course, some of that's going to come out in the album review, but then again, it's my opinion. Like when I was talking with Anthony, I actually gave it a rather low rating. I'll tell you why. He absolutely loved it, and I got to tell you, where's my phone? Because I got to go to Instagram for this one to just tell you when he asked me about it, because it was hilarious. He asked me, what'd you think of the album? I said, I was not a fan of it. Okay, good. I'm like, okay, good. He said, yeah, I love it. I kind of laughed. I'm like, I thought you would have. I'm gonna give you his straight up response, and this is his straight up response. Yes, you see, I don't like your music taste at all. So it kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth when you like what I listen to, because I get a smack in the face like, oh shit, are they starting to sound like the bullshit Kevin listens to? But you proved me wrong by hating it, and that isn't true at all. Just makes me love it more. My response to that was, after I read that, I was actually kind of laughing. I had to say, that might be the most backhanded compliment I have ever gotten. I love it. And I am not kidding. I loved it. And he just goes out here, he's like, Lacuna Coil is not the band for you. I've showed you their songs in the past, you didn't like them, which made me feel better. But you liked the first single, which made me worry a little bit. Turns out I had nothing to worry about, and everything is great. Same thing with the Agonist and most of Epica, also Behemoth, Korn, Evanescence, probably Manson, but I'm not sure. And I told him I called that out in the video, where it's like, I just don't like the genre very much, so it does come out here. However, I am going to speak my truth on the album. I'm going to always speak my truth on the album if I like it or not. And I will always try and find the silver lining in it as well. So, like, for I'll even go back to the one I hated the most so far this year was Bring Me the Horizon's Amo. I hated a lot of it. However, the lead single, Mantra, and then the following single or second single, Wonderful Life, I was like, I really like Mantra. And then Wonderful Life, I see it. I didn't call this out in the video because I did a whole entire other video, like, why did Bring Me the Horizon do this? And why they went in the pop realm. I looked up the reasoning, and I said I don't like the way they went about it, but how I do respect the move to try and bring more people into rock by slowly progressing them through Bring Me the Horizon's album by album, from their latest to their first. So I thought, okay, there's a silver lining here. So with Black Anima, what I liked about it was the second song of the album is called Sword of Anger. I love that song. I thought it was well constructed. And had all these different aspects of the song that blended really well together. Had this heavy metal and gothic metal feel that blended well together. The clean and unclean vocals never overlapped or overpowered, and it really worked well. And the vocal flow really went well with the underlying instrumentation to where it had a well-balanced song. I thought it was fantastic. What's her name? Christina Scabia, I believe it is. I probably messed that up. I hope I didn't. You know what? I'm going to go all Bill Burr on this one and look it up. So let's go to Google. Lacuna Coil. There we go. Man, I'm starting to get like Bill Burr here. I'm starting to forget it. It is Christina Scabia. So what I liked about the album with her vocals was, overall, if you listen to the whole entire thing through and through, you're going to really get a good sense of her whole entire vocal range, because it's But that's if you listen to the whole entire album. You have to listen because she hits many different notes and pitches throughout that whole entire album, but you have to listen to it fully. Veneficium was another song that I was very interested in because the guitar solo on it was the one that only had it like for more than a few seconds. It might have been like 15, 16 seconds, and it was well warranted because it really showed off the power that they can do. And I love how the album closed because Black Anima, or Anima means soul in Italian, so Black Anima means black soul. Their last song is called Black Anima. Their first song is called Anima Nera, which in Italian is black soul. So Black Anima, titular song at the end of it, and it has this real like anarchy feeling to it, and I really did like it, how it closed out the album that way. However, that song does not stand on its own. You have to listen to it at the end of the album and have to go through the whole entire thing. What I dislike about it though was I thought many times the vocals, the instrumentations did not mesh very well on each song, and Christina's vocal range was very limited on each song. So it was like, you're going to get a certain range from her on each song. It's not going to explore further than that. But if you go to the next song, you're going to be in a much different realm, but it's not going to explore further than that. So you're not going to get a full feeling of what her range could be. I also thought the album lacked a little bit of a bite. So there's multiple instances of songs where like the meaning of the song was very, very powerful. They talked a lot about, let me just run through some of these. Like, asking what has become your black soul, driving you deep, like into some deep stuff later on. Anger and hatred that you can feel towards someone and you like having tunnel vision and just focusing on that. How a person can have a negative effect on you to the point of destruction, either outside yourself or just like inside yourself mentally in general. How we can't change our past and go back in time. We have to embrace our past and who we are. The end of some kind of current establishment, whether it be in your mind, whether it be societal, political, whatever it may be. Living life on your terms, don't let anyone else dictate it, especially society. So there's a lot of like very strong messages, and I thought a couple of songs, I thought many of them lacked bite, especially in conjunction with those. Now the song Now or Never is an example of the instrumentation. I thought it went very well, but the vocals, especially the chorus, did not work out very well. So I'm going to talk about Sword of Anger because there's all about anger and hatred when like narrow television. The intro I told you it came out with that like heavy metal gothic metal mix, but it started out heavy metal and then quickly transitions into gothic metal, but it doesn't lose that impact. So this is something where that impact really hits. Now the verses feature the unclean vocals from Andrea, who's our unclean vocalist, where the chorus mixes in between Andrea's unclean vocals and Christina's clean vocals. But like I said, the mixture was done very well here because they complement each other very well. They don't overlap. There's not one that overpowers. There were times in this album where the vocals from one end to the other really overpowered. This was one where it was very well balanced. And the bridge really is where Christina's range showed with a more heavy metal backing sound. So this is one where the range really showed a lot more. And I thought it was the best song on the album. Overall, though, I gave it a 4.5 out of 10. So trying to give you guys a thought process. So 4.5 out of 10 is right in the realm of Slipknot's We Are Not Your Kind, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. Volbeat's Rewind, Replay, Rebound. Sum 41's Order and Decline. I believe it's in the same realm as Papa Roach's Who Do You Trust? I think it's above Amo for sure. Right on the Ghost of Ohio realm by Andy Black as well. And yeah, that's kind of like where we're looking at with that album specifically. Now, will I put this album on my, worst of the year list? Absolutely not. And I think the reason I gave it a much lower rating than I probably, a lot of people thought it warranted or deserved is because I just don't really care for the genre at all. That's just me. So I'm going to be completely honest with you on it. I wasn't a big fan of it. However, I don't think it was as bad as Slipknot's We Are Not Your Kind. I didn't think it was nearly as bad as Amo or the Taking Back Sunday 20 album, even though they just put a bunch of songs there. The two new ones absolutely stunk. Who Do You Trust? I didn't care for that one at all. I think Ghost Ohio might be in there as well, even though I liked the experimentation and the theme that Andy Biersack really went off with that. I just thought he executed it very poorly outside of one or two songs. So, yeah, overall, this is not an album that I really care that much because that sound isn't one I really prefer, but I really don't like a lot of the other aspects of this album. And the song, it does have two songs that have their redeeming qualities, Layers of Time and Sword of Anger, but for me, it leaves a lot to be imagined. And that's where I stand with Lacuna Coil's Black Anima. If you guys like gothic metal, again, please listen to it for yourself and come up with your own review. Don't necessarily take my review as a guide, but you guys know exactly what kind of music I like. You can look at anything I've done, so you can really get a sense of the kind of music that I really steer towards. I always try and give a partial review, like an impartial review, and I believe I did do that for what I would go with, because I'm always going to give you my honest opinion. However, for those of you who really like gothic metal, give it a shot. Why not? You might like it a lot more than I did. Alrighty. Got a couple other pieces of noteworthy news for you. I know we mentioned this a couple months, I think 2 months ago. So we mentioned something about Breaking Benjamin's Ben Burnley doing potentially a side project, side band album. You know, not disbanding Breaking Benjamin, not doing any of that, just doing like a side project thing with ex-Flyleaf singer Lacey Sturm. So this all kind of started happening back in March when Breaking Benjamin had their tour with Skillet and Under Oath. Of course, I saw the show in Milwaukee, and for 5 of the shows, Lacey Sturm filled in for Jen Ledger because Jen was doing her Ledger project with Winter Jam, and it overlapped, so she missed 5 shows, one of them being in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I didn't know about this. So, of course, I got to see Lacey perform. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. So then, of course, I still got to see them at Summerfest this year, so I got to see Jen Ledger actually perform. I'll probably go and see him again next year because they're going to be in Wisconsin somewhere. I mean, 3 of the 4 members of the band live in Wisconsin. I know where I know the county they live in, but because it's like 40 minutes away, it's like a half hour away from me. But I'm not going to go searching for him. No, that's just weird. So during that tour, Lacey and Ben Burnley were talking about potentially doing something like this. And I mentioned this back in August because there were some teases about it, but now Lacey has spoken out about it to CCM Magazine, saying there's definitely things we're talking about, like a new album. There's been talk about starting a band with the singer from with Ben Burnley. That's exciting. I saw Ben and his wife on the road, and we had a conversation. So they have they've talked about this. There's a lot of moving parts going on. Lacey ended up talking to Ben and his wife about it. So I'm hoping that something like this happens because Lacey has a really interesting voice, rather incredible, and mixing it with Ben Burnley's voice and kind of seeing how that songwriting style could go with, I'd be very interested in seeing how it goes. So then he talked with me about singing on his acoustic album, which came out. She was featured on Dear Agony. And I haven't listened to that one because I don't really care for like that. I listen to Breaking Benjamin do their acoustic stuff, and the only acoustic song I liked off of theirs when I saw them live do it was Follow off of the God, what album was that off of? God, I'm just not having the day when it comes to trying to remember albums. How bad is that? I'll have to find it though really quickly. We Are Not Alone. Yeah. So their second release, Follow, was a song I listened to, heard it acoustic. I'm like, now this is good. Listen to it in its normal recording, and I like, yeah. So that's kind of where it is. So we'll see what happens. I know, like even on this article I'm reading right now, it says earlier this year Burnley teased the prospect of a possible band collaboration with Lacey Sturm. But it looks like something like that is coming together and is gonna happen, which is honestly pretty badass because bringing Lacey back into the fold is something that I think would be very helpful for rock music, and just kind of adding her with Ben Burnley, I would love to see them on tour because they'd probably go on tour and open for Skillet. See, now that would be a tour I'd definitely go see or what if they did something where it was, oh my god, I just thought of something. Okay. Ben Burnley, Sturm, like John can record, Jen Ledger, whoever, if you're listening to this, please listen now. Seth Morrison, you too. I got an idea for a 2020 thing or 2021 thing if Lacey and Ben do something like this. Here's what you do. Like a month-long tour, maybe a month and a half, not too long. You do a tour where you have opening, Fight the Fury, followed by whatever Ben Burnley and Lacey Sturm are doing. Then Skillet, then Breaking Benjamin. Oh, did Kevin just come up with that? Yes, he did. Now that'd be something a lot of people would come out and see, even though you're doing a lot of stuff within your own, realm. It's a fact matters. I saw how many people came out to see Breaking Benjamin and Under Oath and Skillet. There was a lot of it, and people are gonna come out no matter what. There were a lot of Skillet fans, a lot of Breaking Benjamin fans, and can you imagine the people that really enjoyed Flyleaf? I mean, it's probably a lot of crossover, but that Lacey is finally back. Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of that sort of clientele or fans to come out. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. If they do come out with an album, will we be reviewing it, or will I review it? Absolutely, because, well, Breaking Benjamin is my sixth favorite band of all time. Number 6 on the list. Honestly, I've been thinking about my list too, because you can look at it on the top 10 list. I may do a redux of it next year, because I feel like there's a couple bands that are starting to creep in there and a couple that are creeping out. And the couple that I think are really creeping out at the moment are Papa Roach and Chevelle. I'm not saying, they're going to be not be one of my favorite bands, but I think they're creeping out of the top 10. And I think the bands that are creeping into the top 10 now are Skillet and Motionless in White. What a kind of contrast, though. But you know what? It happens. The top 5 are pretty much going to still stick there. 6 will probably sit there with Breaking Benjamin, 7 with 3 Days Grace. Honestly, I think I'm just going to keep Linkin Park in the 10th spot all the time because they deserve that. They're not going to be like one of my favorite, absolute favorite, like top 2 bands of all time for me personally, but I mean, I like them enough to the point where I think they should still be in the top 10 always. Alrighty, now, got another piece for you guys as my voice is starting to go. And this came out last Thursday. It's something that I saw it, and I kind of put my hands in my face, and I went, oh no. So, I'm going to be doing a YouTube video on this. This will be our first YouTube video that doesn't include a lot of this, like, ridiculous, crazy, over-the-top album review stuff. I'm going to deconstruct this and really give you all my thoughts, but I might just rant right now. So, last Thursday, Metallica announced they were headlining 5 2020 festivals, headlining 2 shows at each. So, every Danny Wimmer Presents festival, Metallica is going to be headlining 2 nights in 2020. And that includes Epicenter, Welcome to Rockville, Sonic Temple, Louder Than Life, and Aftershock. Now, they'll be playing 2 separate sets for they'll be playing a lot of different separate sets for these, which I saw. So I'm like, okay, let's take a little bit break, let's relax, let's figure out our thoughts. Then I just like, you know what are we doing out here? So taking a look at the positives for, it's gonna be cool. It'd be cool, they're playing 2 nights, they're playing 2 different shows. Why not go see them? That's the only positive I can think of. I cannot stand the move. Now, Metallica headlining 1 night at each of these shows, do I think that's a bad idea? No, not really. Because it's Metallica. They've got such a history. They got such a fan base. They're going to bring in a lot of people. But if you're going to be 2 nights at each of these festivals, 5 festivals, headlining, you are severely limiting the potential for younger bands to climb up into those ranks. If you take a look at the Punk Rock MBA's, one of their more recent videos, I think it was from last month that I actually commented on, where it came down to why is rock music dying, and they mentioned something like a lot of these older bands are taking the headlining spot at these major festivals. Yeah, take a look at what Metallica's doing right now. 5 of them, if they're 3 days or 4 days, they're taking 2/3 of the days as a headliner, or they're taking one half of the days. I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is, you're taking away from all of those younger bands that could be headline and could really help grow rock music. This is only going to stagnate rock music and metal music in the mainstream because we all know about Metallica. If you take a look at Louder Than Life this year, the headliners were Slipknot, Guns N' Roses, and Disturbed. Now, Slipknot, you've been around, you came off the new album this year. Disturbed came out the new album last year. But to their credit, you guys have been around for 20 plus years. Guns N' Roses, 30 plus years. Not saying that that's a bad move because they do sell tickets, but when you get a band like Metallica who's going to take 2 nights at something like Sonic Temple and Louder Than Life being the biggest rock music festival in the nation, you are severely limiting the growth because say I want to go to Louder Than Life. Say, I'm just going to use Louder Than Life as an example. Or Sonic Temple, because those would be the two I'd probably go to. I'm not going to want to stay around for all 3 days. Because I'm not going to want to see Metallica twice. I just don't want to. You're going to get a lot of those, the younger rock fans who don't want to see Metallica twice. And they're not going to spend the money on, these 3-day tickets. They're going to spend their money on single-day tickets, like I did for Riot Fest this year. The reason being I spent a single-day ticket was because, well, I didn't really care to go on Sunday. Friday I was working, and the two bands I wanted to see on Friday I saw earlier that week. And on Saturday, I wanted to go see Rise Against. So why wouldn't I? But you're not giving these smaller bands opportunity to really headline and really take the next generation and take the next step into the next generation of rock. And you guys know, I'm actually starting to turn around to this band, and this would be a perfect place to kind of take Metallica out of that headlining spot and put them in this. You guys, I've told you about this. I'm not the biggest fan of this band because of just personal reasons I'm not going to go into them anymore because I think I've gone into them enough. But they would be the perfect candidates. And it's a day to remember. They've been around since the early mid-2000s. They're the perfect band to really kind of just bridge that gap. Bring in Trivium. I don't care. Just bring in some people that are younger that can really, melt some freaking faces and feature them more prominently. I just think Metallica is going to really hinder all of this. And no, I'm not talking about the band hinder. I'm talking about the adjective hinder or the verb hinder. I don't care. I just can't stand this. You're just destroying a lot of these. You're gonna get ticket sales from older people, but the thing is you're not gonna build up the fan base at all. You're not gonna get the casual fan to come out because they're not gonna want to see you 2 straight nights. One is fine. Honestly, if I was running a rock music festival, I'd make sure that one day, at least one day for now, because of the fact that rock's most prominent bands are mostly over 20 years old. Rock and metal's prominent bands, their most popular ones, are over 20 years old. You're not getting any really young blood to show up on the main stages because they're just not allowing them to. I'll take, throw over to August Burns Red when I saw him at Summerfest. That was nuts. That was awesome. I wish they would do that. I don't think August Burns Red would get a headlining gig at something like a festival Louder Than Life, but just focus on something like that where it's you're gonna get a smaller band that has a younger band that has a huge following. Get them to show up, like A Day to Remember. And take a look at what A Day to Remember is doing right now. They know they had their own festival. They headlined. They had Beartooth, I Prevail. I think Memphis May Fire been on that one. Yeah, that's where you gotta go. Come on. I know I just kind of ranted there. I'll have a whole entire video out there in the next couple of weeks. I will easily put all my thoughts together and really deconstruct the whole entire thing and do a lot better job than just going on a rant like I just did. But I felt like a rant was needed for that because when I saw this, I could not stand the move. I thought this was an ego-driven thing by Metallica in a way because, oh man, it just doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, now I'm taking a look at the dates for these, and these are all 3-day things. So, they're taking up 2/3 of these days. So, who else is going to be headlining these? You have to pick 5 bands, not 10. There's no diversity there, and it's going to stink. Louder Than Life's not going to be as good next year. It was huge this year. The lineup was absolutely bonkers. It's not going to be that good next year, guys. And it stinks. It really does. So, it'll be interesting. But one thing to take for me for a little bit of a little silver lining for this was these events will be the only chance to see Metallica at a U.S. festival in 2020, which means Rockfest and Rock USA here in Wisconsin will not be having them headlining. Whew. Maybe Disturbed will be playing shows again, and maybe they'll headline again. Maybe Rise Against will headline. Maybe Day to Remember will headline. Who knows? Maybe I Prevail will be out there. They've been around since the 2010s. They'd be a good pick. Of Mice and Men's a good pick. There's a lot of good picks. Trivium's a good one. They've been around since the early 2000s. Trivium's a good one. There's a lot of picks you could go with. I might do that for another video, or I might do it for another whole special podcast. Who knows? But guys, my voice is not going well. It's hoarse right now. It's shot. I don't know how long I've been going for, but I know I've been going for a good amount of time. And that's it for me, honestly. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. I'm spent. So, as this is coming out on Tuesday, I hope everyone is going to have themselves one hell of the rest of the week. Love the fact that you guys are following this stuff and just support us. I absolutely hope you enjoyed everything that was around there. And just take a look at some of the Disturbed videos, man. We got some good stuff. That's pretty much what I got there. Yeah. Big shout out to Kathy as well, because she's one hell of a person. Fire of the month. Never give up, Kathy. Never give up. So, that's going to be, again, it for me, guys. I want to thank you again for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song They Rock 2000 Day. Even with my nasally stuffed up and now hoarse voice after the Metallica rant that I went on, dear God, we'll be going much deeper into that. Stay tuned, because next week we've got Alter Bridge's new album, Walk the Sky. And I'll be talking about seeing Motionless in White again. You know, I'm going to say this right now. Do you know the band GFM that we interviewed? And they talk about meeting Chris Motionless and working, kind of like him remembering who they were. I'm going to wear that GFM Oh the Horror shirt to the show and see if I can get Chris to maybe recognize it. And then, maybe start up something. Also, that GFM was playing at 2 hours. See if I can get them connected with the rave and see if we can bring them to Milwaukee, because I'll be part of that cupcake war, man. Alrighty, that's it for me, guys. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great rest of the week. This is Kevin from the My Song They Rock 2000 to Today presents the Chord Progression Podcast. And you guys know how I end everything. Let's do it. See ya.